Hello everyone and welcome to another Versus video with me, Brad Nelson. Today I'm joined by Brian Brundu, and I'm not going to let him talk, so I'm just going to keep rambling. Today we're going to be playing Standard, as per usual, now that we got done with our Pro Tour where we did very well. You can talk now.
Yeah, we did bad.
Yeah, we did terrible.
Real bad.
Yeah, we did not do well at all. Anyway, we get to play Standard again, and I found this sweet Naya-looking deck on Moto. It's Naya-looking because it looks like a Naya deck.
Is it also Naya because it contains the three colors that comprise Naya?
That is true.
Okay.
Except it does splash for blue.
So would you say that this is Naya-looking Naya?
It is Naya-looking Naya.
All right.
Anyway, let's take a look at it. And the joke about blue is pretty joking because of the Shaman and the Yasuba. They're both very teamer, but we're not using them with the teamer cards. We're actually using them with some white cards. But as you can see, the deck is just early aggressive cards and a lot of ways to either pump or protect in the form of Gather Courage and Valor Stance, which this is the first time that I've seen Valor Stance in a deck that I think it could be really good.
Wait a second. This is just Brave Naya all over again.
No.
That's exactly what this is.
You're not supposed to see that.
All right.
It is very much like Brave Naya, where we have ways to protect our guys, early creatures that all have sweet abilities, and Chain to the Rocks.
Yeah, and there's even Fleecemane Lion.
There is Fleecemane.
He made the cut.
He did make the cut in both decks. Other than that, that's our only white creature, so it's not Brave Naya, because there's, Brave was white card, and we only play a couple
Cowardly
of
Naya.
Yeah, this is definitely...
This has become Naya.
This has become Naya, yeah. And as you can see, we have early aggressive creatures like Fleecemane Lion and Air, but whenever we have an Elvish Mystic in our opener, we're able to just slam some of these 3-drops along with curving out into Shaman. Now, Shaman, secondary ability is not as great, or third ability, I guess, is not as great as the other two. Being able to put counters on everything and having haste itself is going to be able to do a lot of damage along with these Gather Courages. I think that this card, in combination with the Trample and with just the creatures that are going to be hard to block in the early game, make the ability to get counters probably just take over the game.
Yeah, I actually think that this deck has a lot of really awesome things going for it, such as turn 2 Rabble Master just beats a lot of decks by itself, especially if you follow up with the Shaman or the Great Hunt.
And the mana accommodates it too, because we have
only
8
3
fetches.
Common to play tap lands. Yeah.
Yeah, only 3 common to play tap lands. These are going to help our Chain to the Rocks, and we have a lot of green on turn 1, plus all the fetch lands are just going to help us curve out. And it's not like we need to cast a lot of difficult spells, right? Like, the only card in the deck, or I guess there's 2 cards in the deck that need 2 different colors. Everything else is just, if you have a plains, you can cast your white cards. If you have a mountain, you can cast your red cards. And if you have a forest, you can cast your green cards. You can be missing a color for a turn or 2 and still just, like, curve out on those spells. Especially since, like, white is the biggest of the splash. Like, this green-red draw could get very well close to killing someone. And then whenever you draw a white to play removal on another green or red creature, the game could just be over. So I'm really impressed with the way it looks, and I'm hoping it plays out pretty well too.
Yeah, like I'm a little skeptical on the Evolving Wilds, but we only have one thing to do on turn 1, so it does make sense for that regard.
Yeah, I mean, especially...
It also helps with Chain to the Rocks and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you have to play at least 9 sources for Chain to the Rocks, and usually it's 10, and right now we're skimping on just the 9. But in an aggressive deck...
It is 10. It's 3 wilds, 3 mountains, and...
Oh, mountains. Yeah, I was counting plains for some reason. Anyway, this is why I did bad last weekend.
Don't ask me why I did bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, that's the main deck. We'll go along and check the sideboard out, and then we will get to battle against what is Gerard is trying to make the best deck in the format.
Yeah.
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 All right, so in the sideboard, we have Rhino Killers.
Yeah.
This is pretty much just screams we must have a lot of removal to kill rhinos and Elspeths and ways to, like, keep our guys from attacking, because 4 glares is pretty high. A couple Xenagos and Outpost Sieges to just help differentiate our 4-drop threats when we go against a more controlling deck. You'll see both of these come in against BBD today. A couple Destructive Revelries to help out against opposing decks with Outpost Siege and Chain. Both those cards are really good, but if you play too many of them, it opens you up to actually getting enchantment removal being good again against you. Because if you only have like 3 chains, or if you skimp on them and you have no other targets, it's really difficult to bring in Erases and Destructive Revelries. But if they're just like their entire core strategy is based around both of these, you can just start attacking them, which makes it a tough matchup. So we might see that starting to happen where Erases actually good or race effects are good against these red-white decks. But for now, the red-white decks are doing really well. So we're going to have the metagame evolve. The fourth, Gather Courage against any deck trying to anger, burn out your creatures.
Lightning Strike, Anger the Gods.
Yep. Very combat-heavy matchups. A couple Arc Lightnings to help out against Rabble Master or opposing early creature decks, along with the Wild Slashes. It's pretty straightforward. This is to fight the mid-range, this is to fight the early, and this is to fight slower decks.
Yeah, I think that I would like to see probably a little bit more cards that are good against a control deck, something like Sarkhan, for example, because of just the popularity of blue-black control or these like various Sultai type control decks. And I've even like blue-white control did like reasonably well at regionals last weekend. I saw a few decks. I think like you want to make sure that you have enough cards where you can side out like all your Chain to the Rocks and some of your bad cards and like actually bring in reasonable threats in those matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to board out much more than the Chain to the Rocks though, because the pump spells still kill Bile Blights and things like that. Like they just counter them, right? Like you play your Fleeceman line, they're like, okay, Bile Blight at end of turn. You're like, nope. And now they just wasted a turn, and you spent no mana protecting your guy. So Gather Courage is actually pretty good against blue-black control, and Valor Stance protects your guys from their wrath effects. So if they ever wrath you can keep a guy alive, attack him with a shaman from your hand, and the game's really close to being over. So I don't actually think you need to board too much of your actual game plan out against those matchups.
I mean, you might be right, but I just worry about flooding on too many cards like Become Immense and Valor Stance and stuff, and getting into situations where, you know, you have to tap out for Shaman of the Great Hunt, they kill it, and your hand is just like 2 Valor Stances.
I completely agree with that. But yeah, anyway, we're going to see what this does against a Sultai control deck.
Yep.
And then we'll reassess at the end of the video and probably say a lot of stupid things before we quit.
I like the stupid things part.
The stupid things is the best part of my day doing these.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, where we just keep talking and they never know when we're going to stop, and they just want it to either end or start, but all we do is just make it drag out as long as possible.
Yeah, they think it's going to end, but it just doesn't.
It never does.
No, it doesn't, yeah.
It's like a train that takes way too long when you're busy and like you're just stuck behind a train and you want to get to work.
Yeah.
And you look in the horizon, you can't see it end, and it just keeps going and going and going, and then all of a sudden it stops.
And then it keeps going and going and going, because there's actually a second part to the train that you didn't see the first time.
No more train!